Tornadoes ravaged Dallas over the weekend, guys. What's the scariest weather event you've ever been involved in, John Henry?
I was downtown Fort Worth when that tornado rolled through there.
Yeah, that did some damage. Gil Leberton?
Probably in person, Hurricane Betsy, September 10th, 1965. Scared us to
You guys
death.
got some stuff. I went to a pro soccer game in Dallas, and it was the tornado. Don't think that counts. Ziggy, you got something?
Yeah, so I went to school at OU, and as part of our degree, we went with storm chasers to film them. We had a tornado touchdown, so we get out of the van, we start filming the anchor, and all of a sudden the anchor's eyes get wide, and in the middle of the broadcast, he goes, "Holy!" And we look around, and another tornado had touched down right behind us.
Tornado sandwich.
So we get in the van and left.
Hell with that.
Oh,
Hell with that. Yeah. Happy NBA season. It is PressBox DFW Live. I'm Richie Witt alongside two venerable Metroplex sports writers, John Henry, Gil Leberton.
And I believe that we have someone else on the line with us, Richie.
We might have somebody bigger than all of us combined. The Mavs open the season, another season, Wednesday night at home against the Wizards. I love me some NBA. More exciting to me than even baseball opening day. I need some good Mavs news, though. It's been a minute since 2011. Let's get some good news from the Mavs' longtime GM. It is old friend Donnie Nelson. Donnie, how we doing?
Bigger and wider, Richie.
Guilty. That's a lot of us. How you doing, my man? It's been a while.
All is good. Long time.
It has been a long time. So, not to be too negative, it is a new season. But 2011 it's been a minute. And then 8 seasons, your Mavs haven't won a playoff series. The last 3 seasons, under 500, 16, 34, and 16 games. But we got Luka, we got Porzingis. Give me some good news. Why is this the year that things turn around?
Yeah, no, it's a new beginning. It's really exciting. You know, I'm almost as excited as was 20 years ago when this first thing kind of started out with a Canadian and a German.
Yeah.
We got some nice supporting pieces and
turned around just in
got
time.
a bunch of shooters, and so we feel good about it.
Tell me about we know what we have in Luka. Everybody saw him last year. He was leaps and bounds better than I thought he would be, probably even better than you thought he would be. Rookie of the year. Tell me why we're convinced in Porzingis. Haven't seen him play in I think 20 months. What have you seen from him in the preseason that makes you think he's the guy?
No, Chris is 7'3", shoots the three, total team player, does a little of everything, puts it on the floor, blocks shots, rebounds, really a 4 that can play 5. So between, he and Luka gives you a really kind of nice 1-2 punch, and those two guys in the pick and roll are going to wreak havoc.
Donnie, we do know we think we know what we have in Luka. He looks pretty good, but of course he's not a finished product yet. It's his second year in the league. What do you guys want to see him do this year to take the next step?
I think for Chris, health is the first thing, and hope all that is behind him. Knock on wood, he's had a really good summer, with Casey Smith and our medical staff. It's kind of a freak injury, but obviously we're monitoring that and going to guard minutes, be protective. But no, I think he and Luka, this is their opportunity to play together, just kind of like Dirk and Steve did a few years back. Got some really good young supporting pieces that we're excited about. And, can't believe this thing is getting kicked off in about 24 hours.
Donnie, this is Gil Leberton. Who would you say that the fans are going to see, especially in the early season here, and be impressed by the strides that they've made just in this 1 year's time?
I think you could really make a case for a lot of guys. I think DeLon Wright has really added a nice backcourt piece. He's tall. He's defensive minded. Kind of a nice, perfect Luka piece. He can guard ones, twos, and threes. He's switchable, versatile. Gives us length in the backcourt. You look at Seth coming off the bench. I mean, that guy can make threes with the best of them. You can make certainly a case for him. Boban gives us some nice support in the front court. And then you got the old guys, the old men of the sea, and JJ Barea, who was with us in 2011, the last remnant, and still as much of a captain and leader in that locker room as he ever was. So we've got a good blend of young and old.
Donnie Nelson, longtime Mavs GM, joining us here on PressBox DFW Live. Now, Donnie, you and I go back a ways to the days when a guy named Don Nelson pinpointed you to be the successor, the head coach of the Mavs. You've been GM now for 20-plus years, and you're always a positive guy, but I can hear it in your voice. You think you've got something special with like Dirk and Nash you had back then. You think this Luka Porzingis duo is something pretty special?
Yeah, look, back in the day, we were excited about both of those guys, but they were unproven. I think the difference is, Luka has done it since he was, 14 at a high level, and was more of a known, certainly, than Dirk was coming out of Europe. And then KP, with him, with his stint with the Knicks, we certainly, when healthy, have a good idea what he brings to the table. So hopefully there's not the same gestation period for those guys to, get used to playing with each other. Although, chemistry is something that's easy to throw down on paper. It's really the difficult job of the coach and players to kind of turn that into victories. And so we just, we need to be patient and let that come together. At the same time, our focus is winning, getting in the playoffs this year, because our fans deserve it.
The Western Conference is going to be a tough neighborhood this year, right?
Oh, top to bottom, it's huge. You can take 3 teams out of California to make a case for coming out.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a couple teams in Texas here that are pretty darn good. Top to bottom, it's as thick as it's ever been.
How weird is it? Because it's really weird for me. And of course, I was a rookie beat writer basically when Dirk came into the league back in 98, 99. It's just weird starting a season without number 41 being involved. That's got to be kind of strange for you as well, doesn't it?
Man, I tell you what, when we had media day, and for the first time, and like you mentioned, Richie, 21 years, you walk into that locker room and you're looking for the nameplate and it's not there. It's just really a shock to the system. But I think, what he has built through his integrity, chemistry, leadership, JJ carries on, and we've got a collegiate type atmosphere and great guys in the locker room that embrace, I think, what he's tried to instill in Dallas basketball in the last 21 years.
I know Dirk will be around here and there. Does he have an unofficial or even an official role with you guys at this point, or is he just kind of come and go as he pleases?
Yeah, his nameplate says anything he wants.
He's got a lifetime contract, right?
Oh, he's, we'll take him for as much or as little. I mean, obviously it's a different existence for him right now, and so we just want to be there supportive of him. He's got a big street named after him we're looking forward to unveiling in the next day or two.
Yeah, Nowitzki way. Tell me about this Boban character. I know he's jovial. He's a jovial giant. But we've seen, I don't mean to disparage him, but we've seen Sean Bradley, the 7'6" guy, before that can kind of play. Tell me that Boban can actually play and be a contributor, not just a kind of a sideshow.
No, we had to pull him off of the Hollywood set. He was out there with Johnny Depp.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Look, he's got some of the softest hands you'd ever. He's got Sabonis type hands. He's a shot maker, really good passer. He's a nice piece to a center bullpen, and he also, obviously can be an enforcer, which is important when you have tall, talented, long, lanky players. You need a little meat in the middle on occasion.
All right, Don, let me ask you a sensitive question. If you can't comment, I totally understand. But you're kind of the father of international scouting in the NBA. You started with Lithuania in the Olympics and Dirk. And I remember in the 90s covering you guys when you signed Wang Zhuzhu, the first Chinese player. And I know how big the Mavs are in China and with Chinese fans. What is the controversy with Daryl Morey kind of done with the Mavs and their relationship with China? Can you speak about that?
I'll just say that we build bridges. I mean, that's what we do in the NBA, and we're honored to, be able to experience different cultures, people, and bring folks together, and that's what is unique and great about the sport that we're passionate about.
Well said. Donnie Nelson, always appreciate the time. The Mavs open the season tomorrow night at home against the Wizards, and let's get the playoffs this year. Let's have some fun.
All right, you got it. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Appreciate you having me on.
Thanks, Donnie.
All right, there's Donnie Nelson, longtime GM of the Mavs. I was looking at the NBA. I'm an NBA junkie. I love it. Like I said, to me, there should be an opening night like there is opening day in baseball. But it's going to be a weird season this year. I mean, the first time in a long time, there's not a clear-cut favorite in the NBA. Like, it's not the Warriors dynasty. It's over. So the defending champions, weird as it is to say, they're Raptors. That's weird to say. But Kawhi is gone. The Raptors are not in. The Warriors, Kevin Durant's gone. Klay Thompson, they say now, is out for the year, recovering from that ACL. They don't have Iguodala, Sean Livingston. You won't recognize the Warriors other than Steph Curry. The Lakers added Anthony Davis to LeBron. That's going to be interesting. The Clippers signed Kawhi and Paul George. The Rockets added Russell Westbrook to James Harden. That's fascinating. The Nets signed Durant, but he's out for the year with the Achilles. So, and then the big new name, of course, is Zion Williamson from Duke, and he hurt his knees out for 2 months. So I guess if the Mavs are going to make a splash, the door is ajar. Do you guys feel that about the Mavs this year?
I think they'll be better. I think the Lakers that made themselves considerably better.
No doubt.
They're going to be as exciting as I thought they were, and I thought they were exciting from first game to last with Luka's addition last year. They're going to be doubly that this year because of Porzingis.
Yeah. They're going to be fun to watch. But, people remember, and I covered those teams, Dirk and Nash were fantastic to watch.
Not
and
at first, remember?
When Dirk came in as a rookie, he was miserable.
Yeah.
But eventually those teams won 60 games, but never even got to the finals because of Tim Duncan and the Spurs.
Yeah.
But the Sacramento Kings had some good teams back then.
Yeah.
I love those two guys. I'm excited to watch them, but the complementary pieces, we're still talking about J.J. Barea. I mean, that's
right.
They need one more guy, I guess is what I'm saying.
Well, they certainly need, Porzingis isn't somebody who's going to guard the rim. He's 7'3" guy who's going to sit out.
Yeah, he's more of a finesse.
I don't know if Bobo is that guy you were talking about, but
I'm afraid he's Bartolo Colon. I think he's just a sideshow circus.
But they need somebody inside to rebound it.
They need DeAndre Jordan. Let's be honest. I hate him, but he'd be the perfect piece for this team. But they're going to be exciting. The Mavs start Wednesday night against the Wizards.
Get the hate out of your heart, Richie.
Get the hate out of my heart. A lot of people tell me that, John Henry. It hadn't worked yet. Catch our writing daily, PressBoxDFW.com. Thanks for watching and or listening to us right here every Tuesday at noon, PressBox DFW Live. It was 44 years ago on this very day, the world, according to a guy named Gil Lebreton, came to an end. What happened? I'll tell you next.
John, you remember your first job out of college?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Doesn't sound like it.
it depends which one you're talking about. I had a
First full-time job.
a full-time job,
salaried job.
was with the Star Telegram.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that worked out great.
Same.
Did
My
it?
first salary job
Really?
at a yeah.
Well, I went
I
off.
was a church janitor, but that was
Okay.
not salaried or something I ever want to talk about.
Right.
Well,
Right.
well, I ran off and joined the circus.
You did not.
Not really.
We all did, really.
Not
I mean,
really.
Circus, yeah.
My first job upon graduating was with the World Football
How did you
League.
get that job?
I was technically my title was publicity director. I was the if you know the current Cowboys situation, I was the Scott Ogolnik, and we had a Rich Dalrymple who kind of took care of the general manager and
Yeah.
the head coach, my dear friend Mike Merrill, and he was from Auburn University, and I had worked for 3 years in the sports information office at LSU. So he asked around, and they said, "Yeah, talk to this Leberton guy." And the World Football League that I was in was the 1975 one, not the 74 one. The WFL lasted 2 seasons, and it disbanded. It ceased operations on October 22nd, 1975, 44 years ago today. And I still remember the mood, the scene, the kind of stupid remarks that were made vividly. And it was I only worked for him for 5 months. It was a hell of a ride.
So do you think that was wide-eyed 20-something, you thought that was your career and you thought that was you're going to be there forever?
Oh no!
Well, you knew better.
Well, I had followed what had happened to the league the year before, so I knew there was an
Now, what do
element
you mean
of
it was
risk.
2 different leagues? I don't. So it was the same World Football League. What was the difference in 74 and 75?
Okay, in 74, the league, the commissioner was a guy named Gary Davidson, and he thought that they would seize upon the opportunity that labor discord in the NFL presented, and the CFL at the time, and the Canadian League, and they were fighting over free agency and things like that, and I think Davidson wanted to. He saw an opening for a competing football league, and this came in the not too distant wake of the AFL NFL merger.
Yeah.
AFL successfully merged, and the
1970,
NBA did the same with the 4 ABA teams, and so I think he saw a way to at worst to have some of the teams merge. It was not a spring football league. It was a little time shifted because we started in July. I remember when I was in the 75 team, our first exhibition game was July 4th weekend outside, outdoors in Birmingham, Alabama.
Oh Lord.
It's good planning.
But the 74 team in Birmingham was called the Birmingham Americans,
Yeah.
and they were the champions of that league. They actually won a championship game, played at Legion Field. They beat the Florida Blazers 22-21. Blazers coached by Jack Pardee.
Sure.
Yeah. Later to be
Oilers.
the Redskins coach.
And Redskins,
And that league, though, was beset with all sorts of financial problems. Immediately after the game, the winning teams, the Americans' jerseys were confiscated because they hadn't paid for them yet, and the local sporting goods dealer had a truck waiting, and as the players were taking them off, they were packing them up. And, they wanted to present the MVP of the league award that night. And because they saw how ludicrous it would look if they presented him a check, it was supposed to be a $10,000 check to the league MVP plus a trophy. Well, they had no trouble finding a trophy, but everybody thought that giving somebody a check would inspire humor, and so they had a Brinks truck back up at halftime.
They did?
Come from the tunnel at Legion Field and backed up to the field, and it had $10,000 in cash that as it turns out, there was a 3-way tie for the MVP. So they handed out $333.33 to each of the three. Well, 2 of the guys were playing in the game, so they were back in the locker room, but they handed the 3,000.
That sounds very XFL-ish with a big prop coming on the
right.
field and whatnot.
Well, you know, the WFL, the first year they had a TV contract. They were on TVS, you know, the Eddie Einhorn network. And that league went broke. It declared bankruptcy. It declared Chapter 11 bankruptcy so that they could reorganize. And the second year it was reorganized. Only 4 of the owners from the original league were part of our originally 11-team group. In Birmingham, we had a new owner. It was a group of a dozen local businessmen, one of whom was the sporting goods guy that had confiscated the jerseys.
He still trying to get paid.
Yeah, I'm sure it was a trade-off. You know, he didn't have to put anything in exchange for being on the board. And so I came along at that time. And I want to say that my princely salary was $750 a month. That was, you know, right out of college, $1975, and that was it. But it was worth every dollar because there was an adventure a week. You know, the league the year before, the way they hoped to force the NFL's hand was to do like had been done in previous leagues, the AFL and the ABA, and start signing away players.
Yep.
And our team had under contract at one time. We had most notably we had Ken Stabler. He was going to be our quarterback, but he wasn't going to be able to play until '76.
Why the Vulcans, by the way? Is there a lot of Vulcans down in Alabama?
No, it has nothing.
Are
to
there
do
Americans?
It has nothing
Americans.
to do with Star Trek.
Okay.
Vulcan is the Roman god of fire and forge, and the statue atop Red Mountain, which overlooks the city of Birmingham, pays homage to the iron and steel business that was part of Birmingham forever. Now, in this old one, he's got this like spear or something, I'm going to say, but it's a torch, and there's a park right there on Red Mountain, and
So there was
it's a
actually
tourist
some
attraction.
thought put into that mascot name.
Sure.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right, and plus we wanted to we wanted to let everybody know, especially the creditors, that we were not a part of the '74 league.
Right, I got you.
Use the same uniforms. There's our logo. And,
That's not
Red,
horrible.
white, and blue. Yeah, not bad.
No.
Not bad.
Did you have anything to do with the name and the logo creation?
No, it had already been created, and
What was y'all's podcast called back then?
we didn't have a podcast, but we did have
Website.
you know, we
What was your Twitter handle for the Vulcans?
yeah, right. If there had only been social media back in those days, that would have been great. The first trip back in those days, the PR people used to advance the game. We would fly. I would fly into the city on like Tuesday or Wednesday, and then I would make the rounds of the radio stations, TV stations. I'd give them photographs of our players
that,
for the
You'd
newspapers.
literally bring a
And then I
folder
had-
and go, "Here's some
And then I had
photographs."
little film clips of guys, and they would use them as the B-roll.
archaic is that?
There's our media guide. That's our media guide with our head coach, Marvin Bass, who
Not familiar with his work.
Marvin was an All-American at William and Mary.
One of the Bass brothers from Fort Worth.
Got to be. Yeah.
He wishes but he had a very successful NFL career as an assistant coach, an offensive line coach. He was the guy who I told this story once before in the podcast that introduced me in January of 1976 to his old player, his old product, O.J. Simpson.
That's right.
And
I remember that.
and that was Marvin was our head coach. A guy named Jack Gotta, Gotta. He was our general manager. He was a legend in Canadian Football League circles. He had won a few Grey Cups there, and we were totally capable. Local fans will probably remember a couple of the names on our coaching staff. Lynn Amity was the backfield coach, offensive coordinator. He was I don't think he was offensive coach. He was offensive backfield coach, and he ended up coaching lots of places, but was at Texas A&M for a while, and then our defensive backfield coach, coming off the heels of a not very successful stint as a college head coach, was Billy Tohill.
Oh yes,
who
Billy.
had taken over at TCU and Jim Pittman's death, and had been the head coach for 3 unsuccessful seasons. But he was our hard drinking, hard driving defensive backfield coach, and
Your
there,
Dave
there's
Campo.
now this is one of the things we did.
What?
This is the program. That's a program from the game against the unfortunately named Shreveport Steamer.
Singular?
Steamer, right?
Oh, for the ship.
No, yeah.
Oh, for the.
Yeah, the ship. I don't know. Yeah, the ship.
Hopefully for the ship.
I was about to say.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
wasn't
like
the
the other
dog. It
alternative.
wasn't the dog. No, it was the and noted artist that named Phil Neal did those covers. He
Those
was
those are kind of cool,
yeah.
actually.
Remember there was a lot of covers program
Sure.
covers that looked that way back in the day.
Those would be huge today as great throwbacks.
Yes, some teams should do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some teams should sell them for $1 as well. Did you see that? Nice price on a program. $1. It was 10 today.
My job was to fill that thing each week.
that right?
I had to do a few stories and fill the thing and whatever. I didn't design the covers. Phil did that all by himself. And
Of course, $1 in those days was $4.77.
Apparently,
In
some
today's
people live on
dollars, yes.
$7.50 a month. I hear.
You're trying to make me feel better about my $7.50 a month. I
Yeah,
can see that.
trying.
Didn't work.
right.
The first advance trip, though, was a preseason game in Shreveport. And I landed at the airport there in Shreveport, and I went to the rent car counter, handed over my Birmingham Vulcans company credit card, and the guy kind of looked down. He went in the back, came back, and goes, "Nah." Apparently, they owed from the year before
Oh, no.
when they hadn't paid their rent car bill. So from then on, we realized I went back to my bosses and reported, and from then on, we realized that we had to be a cash-only league.
Oh, dear.
So the rest of the season, I was traveling like it was like the Blues Brothers. I had like a briefcase. I had all but the
Handcuffed to
chain,
your-
all
yeah.
but the chain and the handcuffs. I can remember having a briefcase filled with money, going to Portland, Oregon, when we played the Portland team, and we stayed at a really nice hotel. The Benson is later became, I think, a Westin property, the Benson Hotel, and I had thousands of dollars in that briefcase, and I literally carried it everywhere
Wow.
with me, and that was just all part of the fun of the whole thing. It was a pay-as-you-go league,
Yeah.
and
Do you have a bodyguard with you? Or
no, I just tried to make it seem like unassuming, which was easy for me.
you just had paperwork in there.
Right. The Benson Hotel, I will see if I can make this a quick, that was our promo card there that we tried to pump up the crowd on our it turned out to be our last game. We played the Memphis team, quarterbacked by Danny White, and
Heard
they
of him?
featured, there it is.
The Southman.
Photo. The Memphis. Originally the Memphis team was supposed to be in Toronto. A name you'll remember, Richie. John Bassett, father of Carling Bassett,
Sure.
was the rich owner, and he was supposed to have a team in Toronto in the '74 league, but the CFL tried to get an injunction to prohibit him from doing so. So he moved the team to Memphis. And they were going to be the Toronto Northmen, so he just made them the Memphis Southmen. Well, the
Not as
name
good
never
of a-
caught on.
Not as good of a story as Vulcan. Was it just
No,
Southman?
the name caught on, and for some reason they decided that Grizzlies was what they wanted to be.
Yeah.
And their logo the next year, there's Danny in his Memphis uniform.
Yeah.
And they decided that that's what they wanted, and that name stuck. They had a great logo and all that stuff.
And that obviously was the inspiration for when the NBA team came around.
Yeah, they stole the name.
They stole the name.
Memphis was also when we played a game there the second to last week of the season in mid-October. That was where I went to. I had to distribute an injury update throughout the press box in the middle of the game, and so I go up on the second floor, and I don't know where I'm going. I'm at Memorial stadium in Memphis, and I'm opening up doors to see if our broadcasters are in there. And I open up one door, and a guy comes right in front of me, and it's a dark room on the top floor of the press box. And the guy says, "Can I help you?" And I went, "Looking for visiting radio." And he just kind of like nods that it's down the way. But I could see a big chair in the middle, facing the field, with blondes sitting on the two arms of the chair. And when I went later and asked the Memphis guys, I said, "Who's up in that booth?" And they said, "Oh, that's Elvis."
I almost said it's Elvis Presley.
And Elvis was a
Wow.
huge fan of. He attended every game apparently of the Memphis Grizzlies, and I remember as I told this story in later years, there he is, and he's actually at the stadium there. You can see
There you are,
the guy
dressed
in
as
front.
a cop behind him.
No,
He's got a-
you can see the guy in front of him's got a parking pass from.
Yeah.
And I remember I told the story in later years to my kids, and my daughter thought it was. She said, "So, well, how close were you to Elvis?" And I said, "About 15 feet." And she says, "Well, there's the title for your autobiography.
That's pretty
15
good.
feet from Elvis."
That's pretty good, actually. I might steal that one. Closer
So
than I've
look
ever
for
been.
that. That's going to be my
15 feet from Elvis. All right, I got
we folded on October 22nd, 1975. It was the time of my life. It was quick and it was fun, and I wouldn't have traded it for anything.
Well, happy
Literally is
anniversary,
today.
I guess. Do you celebrate that anniversary?
No, but I thought of it when I saw the date. I
Oh, there
said,
you go.
there we go.
All right,
Here's the
football
thing.
question for you.
Yes.
You're obviously a Saints guy. You're an LSU guy. This year, they're both kind of having magical years. If you could pick one only to win the championship this year, LSU or the Saints?
Good question.
LSU.
Wow, you didn't hesitate because
I've got a lot of my heart and time invested in it, and a lot of personal relationships tied in with it, and the memory of certain people.
And if the Saints hadn't won in 09,
We count last year's too.
no, we can't do that.
We've already won
You know
of course,
what?
we've.
That's very asterisked. All right, there's some WFL memories from Gil Leberton. Next up, a World Series with a Texas twist, and I don't think we even care.
I want to ask you guys first. Did you hear about the debut of high school freshman running back Marvin Burks of Cardinal Ritter College Prep High School?
I read about this yesterday,
St.
John.
Louis.
Yes, I did.
Was he the illegal player?
Yeah, he
yes.
ran for 109 yards, but someone in the seat said that sure looks like he sure has the same tattoos as our
Yes.
suspended running back, whose name was Bill Jackson, who wasn't supposed to play, but the coaches suited him up as a.
They gave him
as a-
another
as a-
name.
Gave him
and
another name,
another-
gave him another number, jersey, everything else. Suffice to say, those coaches have been
The whole
fired.
staff got fired.
Fired, and they should have.
And absolutely. But I bet you this has happened before.
Oh, there's no question.
There's no
In
at
fact-
every
in
level.
Fact, I
don't
want
you
to
think?
think. Yeah. We used to suit up people in softball leagues. Trying to sneak them through.
Of course.
Yeah. But yeah, this is a little bit. More.
When I was first coaching my son in summer baseball, I met all kinds of characters,
Sure.
and a few of them also coached kid football, and they had a weight limit on
Yes.
a running back. If he was over whatever pounds it was,
Right.
he couldn't carry the ball.
Right.
So they would weigh everybody in the day before, and if you were, or maybe that morning, and if you were overweight, they would put tape. They would put an X on top of your
Can't carry the ball, yeah.
that you can't carry the ball. And of course, they would come up with all kinds of tricks on how to take either have a replacement helmet or how to take the tape off without the other team's moms noticing.
What the heck is wrong with us?
What's wrong with
As
people?
a society, what is wrong with us?
So
Freaking kids.
No.
so you wondered how that happened. That's how it
Find
happened.
ways to cheat at
That's
7-year-old
how it
football.
happened.
Good Lord. And of course, there's no telling when I was in Little League and youth sports, they had all sorts of stuff going on. But you guys remember the first World Series you recall, actually saw on
Yeah.
TV or actually whatever? Which one was it, Gil?
The first one that's vividly in my mind is 1959, the White Sox and the Los Angeles Dodgers. It was on color TV.
Whoa.
I went and saw it on color TV
Where you went and saw it? Where'd you go see it
at the furniture store where my dad worked.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
I thought him and Sister Eusebia went
And
on a date
RCA
or something.
and RCA Victor TV.
Was that do you remember if that was like a Saturday afternoon that you were
Oh,
there?
I was there
Or
every day.
you
I
just
figured
got-
out, and it was the LA Coliseum and all of its, quirky best.
Mine was the Big Red Machine of the, I guess, early
75 or
70s,
something.
mid 70s, yeah, maybe even the Pirates of 71. I love Manny Sanguin had a fuzzy baseball helmet, a batting helmet. I thought that was and Roberto Clemente.
Yeah.
So 71. But yes, I remember the games being during the day and like trying to listen on my radio at school and them going, turn your radio. Well, you can't bring a transistor radio. And just
Didn't
I'd
have
read about it in
earbuds?
the
Some
paper
places
the
you
next
can.
day. No, I just
Oh,
have to
yeah,
read about
absolutely.
it. Crazy.
Mine was pretty vividly the 77 series with the Dodgers and the Yankees.
Yankees, yeah, those are good.
I think that was the year that Reggie hit 3 home runs in that game against.
On 3 swings, yep.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, do we give a damn about this World Series this year?
No, absolutely not. And part of it is I don't like the Astros because the way they tanked and tanked and tanked and tanked again, I just don't think they did it the right way. Like they say, boy, our farm system, but they on purpose, they strategically said we're going to lose 110 games. We don't care. We're going to be good someday.
Yeah,
I
they
think
gamed
that's
the
just not
system.
the way to do it.
They gamed the system.
Thank you. They gamed the
Same way they did to get their closer.
Yeah.
To get Osuna,
Yep.
against. I mean, no self-respecting team. Plus, they had said, well, we're going to have people who do it the right way. We're going to
Right.
have a zero tolerance to this kind of
Sure.
stuff. So they signed a guy that that's a felon.
Their closer
Canada.
beat up the mom of his 3-month-old
Right.
kid.
Right.
And got suspended by baseball, and they're like, we don't care. You can get that 27th out.
Can you? Yeah, exactly.
And if some clown on TV makes a remark about how it's a Texas team playing in the World Series
Yeah.
and suggesting that we should all pull for them, then please, find another market to work in. Ranger fans do not pull for the Astros.
No.
So we
Blasphemy.
we do we care that the Expos are in their first World Series?
I do.
Yeah.
I'm all for it.
Are they still the Expos here?
Yes, yeah, in a lot of ways they are. Because
So that's like
I
saying
thought
the
one of
Rangers were the Senators when they went to the World Series.
One of the neat scenes
Those are the Twins.
in the first few minutes.
I mean, the Senators came from when the Rangers.
They were the second incarnate.
Yes, second incarnate.
yes.
You're right.
In the first few minutes after the Nationals clinched the
Yeah.
National League Championship last week, there was a scene from downtown Montreal, and there was a group celebrating. They had gathered to watch the game. I guess they spilled out on the streets in old Montreal.
Oh, no. Isn't that kind of cheap?
Oh wow.
No, there were no hard feelings
But
there.
none of the
There were
players
no
or front
hard feelings
office.
'cause they
No,
didn't
I mean, no, there's.
They didn't care. There are no hard feelings.
I mean, if
right?
you really did that, I mean, we're all connected to every team, aren't we? I mean, if you go back enough,
6 degrees
DNA,
of separation.
right? 6 degrees, yeah. I
Absolutely.
don't know. That just seems.
Right.
Well, I have, and I am excited about the National. I think it's going to be a good World Series. Personally, I think the pitching's good. I think pitching's going to be fantastic. And
Be sure and update us here on
and
PressBox DFW Live because I won't even watch one pitch.
So
Will you watch any of the games on purpose?
I'll start watching when the Nationals win a road game, because then it'll be a series.
Got a plan at least.
yeah,
All right.
yeah. So to commemorate the World Series this year, I've come up with a few twib
Get
notes.
twib notes.
As in this week in baseball.
As
Mel
this
Allen?
week in baseball,
All right, Mel Allen,
yeah.
lay it on
How
us.
about that? So starting off with the 1918 series, this is something I did not know. It was the only one played, and it featured Babe Ruth, of course, with the Red Sox.
Wow.
With Babe Ruth in that series, you know how many home runs were hit?
0.
0
Wow.
home runs.
He pitched. As
That was
well.
Babe's pre-hot dog days, it looks
Yes. And that also, they're only the Red Sox won the series, and they only scored 9 runs the entire series. Can you imagine that?
As boring as I think baseball is now, imagine if I had to watch that. No home runs, and the team that won 4 games scored 9 runs.
like. Yeah, but the game probably only took about an hour and 10
It's
minutes.
true. I was late
Didn't
for the
last
game. I
long.
missed it.
That series also was the only one played in September. World Series played in September because of the war. World War I was going on, and I think there was some not a dispute, but they wanted to get guys to the front lines.
That's grim.
But very.
Hurry up,
guys! We gotta go. You might have to go die.
Those games lasted only 30 minutes.
Talk about a sacrifice bunt.
Exactly. Of course, the war ended later on, like a couple months later, I think, not much longer. You care to guess? And this guy's more recent. The career leader in World Series wins, and
Walter Johnson.
Walter Johnson.
Oh no, he played for the Senators mostly. Huh? No,
He won once. But,
I don't know. Whitey Ford.
Whitey Ford.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Whitey Ford.
Somebody with the Yankees.
with 10 and 146 innings pitched.
Nobody pitches like this anymore.
No kidding. Look at that follow through.
No. And how high was the mound then?
It's about
That was
3.5
That
feet.
was pre-Bob Gibson. Yeah. 3.5.
Very much pre-Bob Gibson.
Yeah.
This Yankee has the most home runs in a World Series in a career. He was quite infamous for a lot of other things, including his enjoyment of good time.
Mickey Mantle.
That would be Mickey Mantle,
Yep.
who had 18, and he also
He still has the record.
still has a record.
Wow.
And he also has the most RBIs in a career for World Series.
He was Josh Hamilton before Josh Hamilton.
Yeah,
on and off the field.
you pretty much,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Do y'all remember when it was only one game on each week, Saturday afternoon?
Yes.
Yeah, I do.
And the Yankees
Tony
were on
Kubek and
every
Joe
week.
Guerrero- Gary
Every
Gillis.
week, the Yankees were on.
Yeah.
Yankees and Red Sox were there.
It's still the go-to.
True.
Yogi Berra has a few World Series records himself.
He's got the most wins, right? Most trophies, most rings, whatever you call it.
He does actually.
Yeah.
He's got the most rings with 10. But he doesn't have the most appearances. That belongs to a guy named Frank Crissetti. 17 as a player and coach, and 17 wins as a player and coach, and 23 victories, 23 appearances overall.
Can't say that I would ever recalled that name. With
Me either. I
Any
had
amount
no
of
idea- I had
clues you
no
want to
idea
give
who
me
it
wouldn't
was.
have been that.
A Fort Worth guy holds a record, a World Series record for triples.
Fort Worth guy.
You got to go way back. Tris Speaker, 4 triples and 83 plate appearances.
Wow.
Played at Texas Wesleyan. Bob Gibson threw 6 complete games combined in 67 to 68.
That might never be broken.
No way.
And today, now they start relievers to start games. Will there ever be 6 complete games in a World Series?
There's no way.
There's no. Yeah, there's
And the Cardinals lost one of those series.
lost a series.
They lost to the Tigers in 68. Bob Gibson had 3 complete games.
That's when a guy was an ace. I mean, imagine the money he would command today.
Ah,
If you can just, you know what, we're going to play a 7-game series. He's going to pitch 3 complete games. He'd break the bank in today's world.
well, Garrett Cole's not going to do that. He's
no,
probably the best.
he's going to
thing
go
right
7
now.
innings and win a Cy Young because of it.
All right, even more recent. Can you guys tell me the oldest player to win the World Series MVP? He was 39 years old.
Willie Stargell,
Dang, that's a
1979.
good guess.
That is the correct answer.
That was my team right there. I loved We Are Family
I covered that
Pirates.
game. I
Did
was
you
working
really?
in Baltimore that year, and I saw that World Series, coldest World Series ever, I think.
That was my team. I loved Dave Parker, and I loved those guys.
I love that. I love that team too. We Are Family. That was a great. 3 guys. We mentioned one, Bob Gibson. So we had 2 others. Only players to win the MVP twice. Both very much in our modern times. One was a pitcher. One was a hitter.
Let me think who pitched and then multiple.
One was one we mentioned was a New York Yankee,
Reggie Jackson.
Reggie Jackson. Did it twice. I love that picture. That was the year
What is-
with him and Billy when they were getting along.
Could there be any more trouble in one picture than those two?
What a fun team that was. All right, who's the pitcher?
Sandy Koufax,
Oh,
Oh God.
very good.
who hung it up, not long after that. Astros' first year is 1962. That was the year the Yankees beat the San Francisco Giants 4-3, went 7 games. Mm-hmm. And then the Expos' first year, now the Nationals, is 1969, the Miracle Mets.
The Amazons.
That's right.
Beat them 4-1. Mm-hmm. So anyway, that's all the TWIB notes I've got for.
Thank you, Mel Allen. All right, so you're watching the World Series, every pitch of it, John Henry?
No. I don't watch it.
Ziggy, you're a Gen Xer. How much World Series are you going to watch?
Maybe a game.
Yeah, we got to hire a correspondent to watch the World Series because none of us give a hoot, even though it's the Astros. All right, there's some World Series trivia for you here on PressBox DFW Live. Next up in Wits End, the Cowboys are the best at what exactly? I'll tell you. Wits End, before we get to the Cowboys demolishing the Eagles, you guys obviously were aware of the tornadoes that ripped through Dallas. And I was looking up this yesterday, Ziggy in the office. You saw all the damage it's done to some very expensive neighborhoods. The National Weather Service came out and surveyed the damage, said that was an EF3.
Yeah, can you imagine?
A 3. Can you imagine EF5?
Yeah.
And it got me to wondering what EF meant. Do you guys have any idea?
I've looked this up.
It's the weirdest thing. You'll never get. Enhanced Fujita.
Yeah, the Fujita scale.
I mean, not laughing at what damage does, but enhanced Fujita sounds like maybe a sexual position or like a sandwich I could have maybe somewhere. Once upon a time, I went to a soccer game for a team as a kid, and this team was a professional soccer team. They played at the Cotton Bowl. They played at Turnpike Stadium, which turned into Arlington Stadium. And they played at a place called PC Cobb Stadium, if you guys remember that.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it?
No.
I've heard of it.
It's right up your alley. It's old history. You know where the Infomart is on 35?
Yeah.
Back in my day, that was a cement bleacher stadium
Really?
called PC Cobb Stadium, and they played there, and their logo looked like this. Now, is this an offensive logo? Should we retroactively get rid of that? The Dallas Tornado was the team.
I don't
That
see
was
any
their
reason
soccer
why.
team.
Yeah, what was Junior who played on that team?
Cal Rote Jr.
Cal
Yeah, that
Rote
was their best
Jr.
player. Yeah.
Some people deem that offensive.
No, I'm just saying
Oh,
that
no.
Because of the
if
tornado?
if it was still around, would we make how the Redskins is offensive and you make them
yeah.
change this and that, and I mean the tornado wiped out half our city. Would we say let's come up with something cuter and cuddlier?
Well, when did the tornado play to win? In the mid-70s?
76 to 67 to 81.
So
Sorry.
you talk about the offensive tornado
Yeah.
logo. And I asked this question yesterday and looked it up later, but the only time or the last time, I can't say the only time, the last time Dallas has been hit by a tornado like this was 1957.
Yeah.
And I went to the archives, found the stories then. 10 people were killed in that tornado. And I guess they were over it by then as far as the logos.
Apparently, 10 years later, they're like, sure, let's make fun of it, everybody.
About 14 years later.
Yeah, 14 years later. So speaking of logos, this is really cool, I think. And I like these uniforms anyway, but SMU, which we had on Coach Kane last week or 2 weeks ago, they're going to wear these uniforms. This was supposed to be a one-off for the Iron Skillet, but they're wearing these Dallas and the helmets with the old City of Dallas insignia. They're going to wear these Thursday night when they play Houston in an ESPN national television game.
Yeah.
To honor, I guess, we don't have any victims, but what do you call it when you just have property damage?
Yeah,
I mean, I guess you're victims.
Yeah.
So anyway, watch that ESPN game Thursday night, Houston playing undefeated
Pony up.
SMU. Pony up.
They're still rolling.
Them and Baylor now are becoming two of the biggest stories of the year right here in our backyard.
They certainly look like the class of
Yeah, they beat the beat
And
down.
remember,
They put the beat down on a pretty good Temple team.
Under the provisions of the college football playoff, if they are the highest ranked, no, it's true. If they are the highest ranked non-Power 5 team in the rankings, by virtue of the rules, they go to the Cotton Bowl this year. And with Boise State losing Saturday night, they moved ahead of Boise State in the AP poll. And if they maintain that in the CFP poll, they will go to the Cotton Bowl this year.
Pony up.
SMU would go to the Cotton Bowl in Arlington, even though the Cotton Bowl is in their backyard. Right. All right, let's get to the Cowboys because they, I guess they looked good Sunday night. I just think the Eagles stink. Don't you guys?
Yeah.
That
Eagles
was horrible.
Gave them a quick 14-0 lead.
15 plays into this game, it was 14-0.
Yeah.
I'm not sure the Cowboys
you turn
have
it
done
over
anything.
twice like that, and get down.
You know, it's funny. The Cowboys. I have some. I mean, you hear on the radio, and then I have some good friends who
Yep.
the Cowboy apologists who said, well, they dismissed the losses to the Jets and the Packers as well. They fell behind, or they had turnovers. They had early turnovers, and
Right.
so really you can't go by anything that happened
No,
after that.
look what happened
Well, they
here.
turned around
In
and
turn,
did
yeah.
the same thing. You know,
Yeah.
so we're going to discount that, I guess.
Cowboys 4-3 after putting a whoop on the Eagles, and I think this is all I can really say about the Cowboys. They are by far the best team in the NFC East, which is the worst division in football.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
They are.
Cowboys are 3-0 against the East, average 34 points a game in those wins. Against the rest of the NFL, they're 1-3, averaging only 21 points a game. So, I mean, the Cowboys are going to go to the playoffs because they're going to win that crappy division, but I still don't think we've seen the Cowboys at their best.
They're capable of playing very well.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're not Super Bowl quality. They're just,
Well, we'll
not
see.
good enough. But they are 4-3.
We'll
and
see.
That was a big win for them. All right, next up, we got to get up on out of here. Let's round the bases and let's head for home. All right, let's walk it off. Gil Eberton, what's on the amazing PressBoxDFW.com this week?
You had a good postmortem after the Cowboys' victory the other night. Carlos Mendez kind of surveyed the damage to TCU after K-State. If you get a chance, please read Richie's story that went up last week about the miracle on Mockingbird and how they got to this position and have become one of the truly great stories in college football this season.
Yeah, it's really cool. What's on Facebook? Anybody shouting us out today?
We do actually have we've actually got a viewer on the road on his way to Boston, Massachusetts.
What's he doing?
He's moving up there.
He's
Well, he
moving.
needs to watch the road.
Because of our show, he's moving, or just
No, he,
Oh, okay,
he and his
good.
wife are relocating for because of the job.
bless
So
him.
safe travels, and they're actually newlyweds. Safe travels to Ryan and Melissa O'Neill, better known as Chip. Wish you the best in Massachusetts.
Hey, Chip.
Be safe.
Chip. Keep your eyes on the road. And the good news, Chip, there's a
Godspeed.
thing just invented called the internet, and you can just like watch our show every week. You don't have to be here to watch
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
All
And
right.
he realized that.
All right, there you go.
We also have one viewer asked John Henry, did you cover the 1918 World Series in
That's a
person?
fair question. Did you
Yeah.
have a one-on-one with Babe Ruth?
He's a student of history.
I am a
Did
student
you?
of history. I feel like I was there.
Did you go in the archives with Babe and look up some guy even older than him? All
Babe
right.
and I had hot dogs and beers together.
We'll see you guys next week. We'll have a World Series update from John Henry. We'll see if Gil's LSU Tigers are still rolling, and we'll check out SMU and see if they're going and see how the Mavs have looked in their opener this week. For John Henry, for Gil Leberton, I'm Richie Witt. We'll see you guys in the press box, DFW.